Good morning. Hey, cool. It's great to be together again. Thank you for joining. Grab a drink, grab a seat. It was absolutely really just awesome to be together once again. If we haven't yet met, my name is Joel, and it's just a joy to be together today. Hey, you might have just seen on the little video there, but our vision is inspiring people to find and follow Jesus. That's what makes our heart beat. This is why we do what we do. This is our aim. This is our goal. And this is what we're working for. And so today's a slightly different morning. If this is your first Sunday here, whether you're joining us online, thank you so much for tuning in. Or whether you're here in the room, if this is your first Sunday, it's going to be a slightly different format. There's a whole team of us who are going to be sharing for a couple of minutes. And we're just going to be sharing a lot about the heart behind why we do what we do. It's all about our vision and our mission this morning. And I'm going to start out by looking at the first thing I'm going to look at is like, hey, where are we at? Because it's always good to know where we're at if you're going somewhere. And then we'll be moving on to looking at where are we going. We thought it would be helpful as a team of trustees and the leadership team thought it'd be really helpful just to do a quick snapshot of our journey so far. And some of you may know this story because you experienced it. And others of you have actually started joining with us in the last sort of 18 months, so this you're not aware of. But we used to all meet in a hall across the street. And it was very, very small compared to what we have at the moment. And we had standing room only on many a morning. Most of the gatherings, you waited until the children had left to go into their activities, and then you could get a seat. So we are here in this space. We've been looking for a building for a long time. And let's be honest, we're actually still looking for a space. We'd love to have a space that we could call our own. Currently, we set up 4 different rooms in 2 different buildings, and we would love to have a space that we could call our own. But for now, this is what we got, and this was an unexpected blessing. This was an unexpected gift that came our way. The Free Church said, you can use this space. And in January 2020, we were so excited. We spent the whole month, some of you remember, we rewired, we installed a lot of stuff in this building. We put some screens up on there. We changed a lot of stuff in this building. We spent a month trying to make it more usable for us. And then February 2020 was going to be like a new start with a new logo and a new website and like everything. We were like all so pumped and so excited about getting ready to go. And then like 5 weeks later, like the whole thing shut down. And we got hit with this thing called the Great Pan-D. You might remember it. And this great lockdown happened, of course, and everything changed overnight for everyone. And straight away, we had to make some unexpected changes. Plans were changed, holidays were canceled, birthdays were canceled, schools closed. Children all of a sudden were now studying at home, and anyone who was a parent or a carer became an educator, which was an interesting moment in your life, and especially if you were still working, trying to work from home and also teach from home. It was a crazy time for a lot of people. Well, not only that, but there was mental health challenges for a number of people. It was a difficult time. There's times being worried about loved ones, not even actually being able to see them or be with them. There were loved ones that we lost at that season that we couldn't go visit at hospitals or couldn't be at funerals. It was a crazy time. It wasn't really a nice time in a lot of ways, and some unexpected changes happened to all of us. We were just sort of hit, and every day your news feed or your social feed was just, every day was the same story. Escalating numbers of an unwanted virus, it was, well, I don't need to say anymore, do I? And in that moment, we had a choice. You see, we all have choices in life, and this could be a roadblock or diversion. Now, when you come to a roadblock, here's what happens. At a roadblock, you cannot move forward because your journey is over. You're stopped. Or you can allow this moment to be a diversion. And when you come to a diversion, you have to change your plan, but your destination remains the same. So a roadblock will stop you in your tracks and you don't go any forward. You don't go any further. A diversion says, I have to make adjustments because I still am reaching for a destination. And our destination stayed the same. We knew where we were headed. So we are still the body of Christ. That didn't change. We are still called to care for one another. care for our community, and care for others with this life-changing message of Jesus. That didn't change. That never changed. Our destination never changed. Therefore, lockdown for us, it would not shut us down. It would only be a diversion. And in that midst of uncertainty and upheaval, we made some radical changes, and I'm so proud of you. So many people in this room adapted, and you spun like this, and you just made changes like that, and you did an incredible, incredible job. Because when the doors closed and people couldn't come to us, instead of licking our wounds, we went out. Overnight, we had to learn how to use YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of stuff that we should have been using a while ago, but we weren't. And that gave us a great kick up the backside. And the day after lockdown was announced, we created the YouTube channel. We weren't gonna wait. It happened within 24 hours. And we continued to declare the goodness of God. We just had to find new ways to do it. And when children and young people couldn't gather and come to their groups, we went out. So Superstars went online. You know, there were songs, there were crafts, there were stories, there were activities. Rock stars, the youth met online. They did games, they did socials, they did quizzes, they did like a dance class. And we ran the Youth Alpha course. Because we weren't going to let this be a roadblock. It's simply a diversion. And when our small groups, our fused groups couldn't meet, we met online because that was the best opportunity that we had and the only way we were allowed to do it. Groups shifted to Zoom. We had the prayer groups, socials, quizzes, weekly gatherings. It's crazy if you look back on the amount of stuff that actually took place, and you guys did an awesome job. And so I'm so proud of you for what you did. And instead of complaining about Zoom, because most of us don't like it, if we're really honest, we actually chose to get involved with it. And instead of looking at what we don't like and what we can't do, it's always better to live life looking at what you can do. And in reality, if you think about it, we're quite grateful because years ago, it only would have been able to contact each other by phone. And a few years before that, you could only contact each other by letter. And now you could actually contact one another and see their faces and see their expressions and hear their voices and be in their room. And yeah, Zoom's not cool, but you know what? I'm so grateful for Zoom because years ago, it would have been just a phone call, and years before that, you would have had to wait to get a letter. So there's more connection possible through that than what we had before. So I know we don't like it, but thank you so much for those of you who said, you know what? I don't like it, but I like that person on the other end of the screen. And therefore, my preferences are going to be put aside because I want to reach out and I want to connect. So thank you for every one of you who have done that. Even though we don't like it, we looked at what we can do. And let that be a hallmark for us as we always go forward. Let's find things that we can do. And throughout that time, you know that we care for our community, and Elaine runs the Make Lunch programs, and we couldn't have the families that we were usually caring for come to us. And then all that throughout that time, you guys put together food boxes and you delivered parcels throughout that whole season. And that happened in the October, and then the summer, and then the Christmas, and we carried it on for the last year just gone as well. And throughout that first year, over 700 meals were provided. Thank you. That's incredible. 700 meals. When families couldn't come to us, we went to them and went to their doorsteps. And some of you in this room did that, and were there doing it, so thank you. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later on this morning. But why did we do all these things? Because we believe it is important to reach people, and you should reach people where they are at. We need to reach people where they are at. We believe our local community should actually be better because we are in it. Our local community should actually be better because we're in it. Our local community should be grateful that we're in it. And they don't even have to believe the same as us. But they can be grateful that they know a Christian and that there's a Christian community. And even if they don't yet believe the way we do, I would love for people to look in and think, wow, I wish my friends cared for me the way they care for one another. What a powerful testimony we are just by being ourselves and getting stuck in. And all of this happened in spite of lockdown. So lockdown is not going to be a roadblock. It was not a roadblock. It was simply a diversion. And now we're on the other side. So that's where we are. That's where we've been. And now we're on the other side. So we begin to look ahead. And our vision is the same. We are here to inspire people to find and follow Jesus. And we will throw creativity and energy and passion and risk and time and everything that we're able to throw into that, we will throw into that. And so the next part of our morning we're moving into as we look ahead and we prepare for the future. I'm so grateful that we have an amazing team of people who help serve more so behind the scenes in a lot of ways. We have a team of trustees. And I'm going to hand it over to John, who's our chair of trustees, and Richard, who's also a trustee, and they're going to take over for the next part of our morning. So over to you guys.
Thank you, Joel. Is that okay? Yes, good. I'm going to talk about one of the hidden parts of the church, as Joel mentioned. It's one of the behind-the-scenes bit, which is as important as the parts that you do see. With Richard, I'll also take a brief look at how the money works. When New Life Church formed over 30 years ago, it was set up as a charitable trust, which was the best legal framework at that time. More recently, a new type of legal framework has been developed called a Charitable Incorporated Organisation, or CIO for short. Despite being a mouthful to say, it is a more suitable structure for churches, especially if they own property, which they use not just for worship, but also for reaching out into local communities. We've been considering this over the last few years, and we have now become a CIO. The process has taken quite a while to set up. COVID helped in that delay, but we are now ready as we develop further. To my knowledge, we have met as a church or a local body in at least 6 different buildings in Letchworth, and I'll give you the details later if you want, none of which we have owned. And as we grow further, we will outgrow this space too. It's already looking pretty full. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could call a place our own, with the freedom to use it as we want and when we want? We do have some money designated as a building fund, and at the moment that stands at £130,000. Sounds a lot, but realistically we'll need probably over 10 times this amount if we want to own somewhere of our own. So let's pray and give into this together as we move forward, expecting God to provide our needs as we look to inspire people to find and follow Jesus. Moving on to looking at the rest of the finances, I'll talk briefly about what we spend our money on, and Richard will talk about our income. Before I get into the detail, some of you may know that our treasurer, Chris, moved from the area last July, leaving a gap, which we still have. So we've had to adjust how we do things, our diversion. We now use a Christian accountancy firm to prepare accounts, keeping them up to date, handle our payroll and bookkeeping. And Richard and I have been doing a day-to-day work, with Richard handling the income side while I pay the bills. And if we look at you probably can't see the detail of this, but these 2 lines have remained more or less the same. The blue is income, yellow is expenditure. Praise God, the blue has always been above the expenditure. The goodness of God. When we set up this place, we had a lot more expenses because we put quite a bit of money into doing all sorts of things in this building. But praise God, our income went up as well. So we're grateful to God. It's amazing. And I think that's quite different from many other organisations and churches during this period. You probably can't see the detail of this, but actually it costs us about £1,800 a week to run a church. It's useful to break things down into weekly amounts. Now if we look at the next slide, again you probably can't see the detail in this, but again I thought I would just put it this way. For every pound you give, we only spend 7 pence on administration. The rest is spent on people. 10p in the pound pays for our Sunday setup. That's premises and running this, what we do on a Sunday morning. 10p goes into our other networks, such as Lifelink and Further Faster. And Lifelink supports all sorts of churches all over the world, including China, India, Eastern Europe. And we're part of that. And Further Faster supports all sorts of other churches like ourselves in building leadership and building capacity and helping churches to grow. 6 pence in a pound supports other local charities and projects, which you'll hear about later, such as TLG, Make Lunch, Choice, Schools Work, and we also support a Zimbabwean children's home. The rest is spent on salaries. And I'll now hand over to Richard.
Thanks, John, who does an immense amount of work behind the scenes. As a church, we only have one source of income. And that source is you. And that you is not singular, you'll be glad to hear. It's plural. It's you. In fact, it really is us. So we don't have property that we rent, we don't have other investments, we don't have any external organisation that gives us money regularly. Every money we have to spend comes from us. And I think I've got a couple of slides just coming up, but in the last, and one amazing thing is that 54 people give regularly in this church community, which amounts to 82% of the adults who are regularly involved in New Life Church. And in the last year, running up to April this year, assuming the giving in April is the same, March was the same as it was the rest of the year, £84,000 have been given in that year. And for most of us, our giving is reactive. We see a situation in Afghanistan, like the famine there, that's appalling. We see the situation of Ukrainian refugees, and our hearts are moved, and we give, and that is good and a right thing to do. And that is reactive giving, and it has a strong emotional element. But this £84,750 is not that type of giving. This is not reactive giving. This is proactive giving. This is giving with vision. This is like we're on board a ship as a church community, and we're at the prow, and we're looking out to the horizon. And our giving isn't because we've necessarily seen a specific need, but it's giving in faith because we have vision for the future. And that's what this is about. And I think that is a remarkable thing as a church community. And John has shown us that that's carried on over the years, despite the COVID pandemic. 82% of us are giving £84,750 a year. And that is amazing. And out of that, about just over 70% of people who are UK taxpayers are gift aiding those donations. So I can just do a little bit of jiggery pokery on the internet, send a claim in. I mean, it's correct, jiggery pokery. And we're due to get £16,450 just for doing that, just for filling out a form, sending it in. Remarkable, isn't it? So over £100,000 coming in. And that, as I say, is proactive giving with vision. So if you want to get on board that ship, if you want to be at the prow looking ahead with that vision of faith, then these are the means to do it. That's just coming up. So the easiest thing, certainly for me, is if you can complete a standing order. You can do that online with your bank. I've got lots of these at the back, pre-printed with all the details. You just need to put your bank details on, and I can sort out the rest. So do come and see me at the end. Or you can go to our website. Just put in nlcletchworth.co.uk/give, and you'll come to this page. And on that page it links directly to our donate platform. So you can give as a one-off donation, you can give as set up a repeat regular donation, you can give by card, you can give directly from your bank account, all on that one place. So just nlcletchworth.co.uk/give, or if you'd like to do all that on your phone, just text NLC space give to 66777, and that too will link you directly to our donate platform. And so be encouraged, and if you want to be involved and you know you're not quite involved yet in that regular giving, do come and see me at the end. I'll be there with the forms and or tablet if you want to do it that way. Cool. Thank you.
Good morning. Great. It's so encouraging hearing all of those things, especially just so much gratitude how everyone's just journeyed with us through what's been such an up and down time. Well, my name's Sam, and it's really great to be sharing. I'm really looking forward to just having a few minutes to talk about our digital vision. And just to say, Jenny and I and our family, we've been part of New Life Church for nearly 9 years now, since when we very first came to Letchworth. And it's just been an absolute joy to journey with this community and journey with you all through all of those times. But as Joel said, 2 years ago we were just moving in here. We had a website, but we weren't really sort of doing much online. That felt like something we might get round to once we felt we had capacity and resources to do so. But as with so many things, the pandemic launched us into using online tools and digital tools really as a necessity, a way to keep engaged, to keep getting our message out there. And Joel said we started a YouTube channel for New Life Church. We'd never done that before. It was the 20th of March in 2020, so we're nearly 2 years on. And I just wanted to share a few stats based on what we've done in that time. So we've had just under 400 different videos gone out. We've live streamed 70 Sunday services. That's generated over 23,000 views, adding up to about 3,000 hours of time of our content being watched. And that's also now led to YouTube recommending what we put up over 50,000 times. That means when people do a search or they're browsing, YouTube's trying to promote our content in front of other people. Now, there's so much information out there. Isn't it great that actually a message of hope and a message of faith is getting out there, and we're able to contribute to that? Now, there's so many people that have made all of this happen. And don't have time to go to everyone, but there's a few people I just wanted to take a quick moment to express real deep thanks to. So the first one will be Matt, who's currently sitting on the tech team at the moment. And Matt really stepped in at this time just to help us get our camera gear and help with our live stream and getting all of that going. And without that, I think we would really have struggled to know what to do and to have the energy to drive that forward in just the right way. So a massive thanks to Matt. He's served nearly every Sunday since then, helping us with our broadcast. So why don't we give a quick round of applause? That'd be great. The next person I really want to say a massive thank you, and I think he's watching from home this morning, is Mark, who has spent so many hours faithfully serving away, editing all of our video material afterwards to produce our message series that we can share so easily. And it's just taken a lot of time for him to do that, and he really serves so well and faithfully in that way. And also he's just been a constant source of expertise and encouragement. So a huge thank you to you, Mark. And then I just really wanted to say a massive thank you as well to Chris, who joined the church just before lockdown. I think it was only a few weeks before we went into lockdown, and immediately got stuck in with the tech team, has just learned everything he can, and has just been an absolute rock of supporting all we do. So a massive thanks to Chris as well. Now, I don't think I could get any stats on the number of Zoom meetings that have gone on over the last 2 years, and maybe you've felt some Zoom fatigue all through that, like Joel was mentioning. But we know that, and we do acknowledge, of course, that engaging that way, whether it's online or through the playback later, that is not the same as meeting in person. But as Joel was saying, we're just so pleased that we've got these tools that we've been able to use through that time. But I guess now the question is, well, where do we go from here? Was that just something we did through the pandemic, but now we can meet together, we that's kind of over and we can forget doing that? Well, I don't think so. I think it's got a really important part to play in our future. I was reading an article some months ago as we're thinking about kind of, what did online and digital mean as we go forward and hopefully coming out of lockdown and the pandemic. And it really inspired me and stirred me to think about what we can do as we go forwards. Now, I think many of us maybe would come from previous generations with a much broader exposure to church and to faith. Perhaps we could have relied on things with, say, most children, when they used to go to school, would go to Sunday school, would likely, like my school, we always went down to the local village church, Easter and Christmas time, and we had exposure to those things of faith. Probably not too long ago, many weddings were held in churches and had some sort of faith context too, and many funerals as well. And perhaps by kind of university age or leaving home age, a lot of people knew something about what it was to go to a Christian church or what it was like. But I don't think we can rely on that anymore. It's no longer true. People don't have that level of exposure anymore. And even if they've been to a church service, I doubt very much it's anything like what we do here at New Life Church. So the article said this, one of the lines in it said, almost everyone who attends your church for the first time has already been to your church online, all of which means the foyer has moved. Slightly Americanism there, but the foyer meaning where we greet people. Instead of meeting them for the first time at the door when they've turned up, it's very likely that people will have looked up our website, will have looked up what we're doing online. And so I think this is a really important and big opportunity for us. And we know that this is true because over the last 12 to 24 months, a lot of the people who have joined our community have joined us online in one way or another, whether it was through small groups that were on Zoom or watching our live streams on Sundays, or even catching up on a message that somebody shared with a family or friend or colleague. And in fact, even this morning, I got people saying on the chat who are on live stream saying they wouldn't have found their faith or been part of New Life Church if it wasn't for all the ways that they're able to connect online. So that's just such an encouragement. And I think that is going to be really a great way of reaching and engaging people as we go. And I'm convinced that if Jesus was here now, that he would be doing things online. The reason that is, not just because it's flashy or it's the most modern thing, because that wasn't really what he was about. But he was about meeting people where they are. And so many people of today's generation and the next generation spend a lot of time online. And so I think that's where we definitely need to be reaching out to. But I want to be clear, we aren't looking to start or make an online church. I think there's so much value in us being able to meet together and walk and live and work out our faith side by side, step by step. But we have to see that this will be a combination of both of these things. There's some really great advantages to online courses and groups, just helping people, perhaps families or single parent families, people who struggle to travel, have got poor health, to engage, to find a way to connect with those things. There's so many opportunities that we can make the most of. And I think then what we find is once people have looked online, they've seen what the service is like, they've maybe heard some of the songs and seen the style. When they do come, people aren't looking for information. They're coming here with a deeper hunger for transformation. And so that should encourage us and inspire us ever more to do two things, I think, is to create environments where people want to come back and invite their friends and family to. And that's really what we're trying to do with our Sunday services and all our amazing children's work as well. And also to produce presentations of the good news that are engaging and relevant to people where they are. That's what is the filter through which how we prepare our messages. All of our material is done through that way. And it is all centered on our vision to help inspire people to find and follow Jesus. So we just want you to feel confident that you can invite people here on a Sunday, that you can invite people to the small groups, that you can share content, whether it's our messages or all the amazing Superstars content on there, to make the most of that. And I do hope that you'll keep joining us on this journey. Thank you.
Hello. It's on, apparently. Not yet. Hello. Oh, it's on now. It's so good to be here, but I have to tell you, it's really weird for me to be in this room looking at a bunch of adults, and I'm very anxious to get back over there where I feel comfortable with the kiddos. But I am going to speak to you guys just for a few minutes about Superstars. And I just want you to think for a second. What was your world like when you were growing up? I just caught Sam there mentioning some things. Maybe you had a frame of reference for faith. But what was your childhood like? Possibly a little bit more like that one. Outdoors, getting dirty, causing trouble if you were anything like me. I wonder, what things were you concerned about? What things were you excited about? What did you want to be when you grew up? Any of you say a YouTuber? No, not at all. Those things, when I'm at work and I'm telling the kids, those things didn't exist when I was a kid. They're like, yeah, miss, that's because you're really old. Thanks, guys. But did you have a mobile phone? I didn't have a mobile phone. Would you have been able to do your schooling from home on your laptop or your Xbox or your mobile phone? No, because these things didn't exist, did they? Well, if you're as old as me, they didn't. But we have to ask ourselves, what is it like to be a child in 2022? I think we would all agree that it's fair to say the world that our children and young people are growing up in now is distinctly different to the one those of us over the age of 25 have experienced. And I also know that it's really common for us to kind of say throwaway sentences like, the young people today have got it so easy. But I think we have to stop saying that. We have to stop saying that, because as somebody who works with young people in the week, it's not true. It really isn't true. It's not the case that they've got it so easy. It's just a completely different world. We can't kind of use the frame of reference of, oh, well, when I was a kid, because they are growing up in a completely different world to the one that we grew up in. You know, numerous studies have actually shown that British children are some of the unhappiest in the world. Yeah. In a recent international paper, they ranked out of 48 countries the overall happiness of 15-year-olds. And the UK was actually near the bottom. We actually came out of 48, we came in at 38. We're one of the least happiest countries. And of course, there's loads of kind of other factors that affect that data. And one of which is actually how young people are encouraged to spend their time. Now, in a week, we've got 168 hours. And this is how the average child spends their time. 63 hours sleeping. I'd like a bit of that, to be honest. I don't think I get 63 hours sleep a week, but hey-ho. 63 hours sleeping. 35 hours, roughly, at school. Roughly, and it's obviously more for some people and less for others, but roughly 25 hours per week on a device. Gaming, using mobiles, watching TV, that kind of thing. Roughly, and again, this varies. If you're younger, it's not going to be this much, but if you're older, it might be even more. But roughly 21 hours a week on homework. 14 hours a week on other things like leisure, hobbies, having a bath, cleaning your teeth, that kind of thing, all very necessary. 7 hours a week eating. 2 hours a week travelling to and from different places that you have to be at. And for us here at New Life, that means there's 1 hour left in that week for Superstars. How amazing is that? 1 hour in that week for Superstars. You know, I love working with the children and young people at this church. We've got a fantastic team. We've got Elaine, who heads up the Rockstars and the Luminous, and she is assisted by Grace and Martin and Mary. You're in here somewhere. And then there's loads of people in the team that work with the younger children. And I don't want to list any names just in case I miss people out. But we've got a fantastic team of people that provide for our children and young people. And we wholeheartedly believe that every single person, but for us, with a focus on Superstars, every single child should be known and loved. How empowering is that when someone knows your name? So powerful to be known and to be loved. We believe that every single person, but with our Superstars hats on, every single child was actually born to shine. And you know, it's actually a really dark world that they go into in their schools. And even the tiniest light in darkness can be seen, can't it? We view what we offer every Sunday as an opportunity to equip a generation to stand firm in their faith and in friendship. Those two things are so important. They're not easily won. For a child to develop faith, it takes time, and it actually takes an army, not just those of us who are out there with them. For children to develop friendship, it's not just an easy thing. It takes time. And in fact, maybe some of you that would resonate with you. It takes time to make real friends. But what we're doing on a Sunday morning, we're not babysitting your kids. We're not just looking after them so that you get, a bit of a break. We are equipping them to stand firm in faith and in friendship. They are growing up in a world that is so confusing. I could tell you stories that would make your toes curl because this world is so confusing. It's so difficult, even for us adults to navigate. How much more difficult is it for children? Especially for them when they're going into the school system with a faith. How do they express that? How do they live that out? Really, really tricky. But in the 1 hour that we have with our young people, we want to instill value into each and every single one of them. And their value is not a changing value based on what society says is cool at the moment or what culture says is relevant. But their value is based on what God says about them. And in order to find out who they are, they need to know whose they are. So in everything we do, from the welcome at the door to tidying up the room, we want them to catch a glimpse of a God who loves them, and that is displayed by our human hands. We want to strengthen their lives with an unshakable truth that they are known and loved, not just by the family of God, but by God, the creator of heaven and earth himself. And them being loved, it's not based on their performance. It's not based on academic achievements. It's not based on their looks or their talents. It's not based on how trendy their clothes are, how much money their parents have. It's not based on the changing value system of this culture. Their value is based on the unshakable truth that they are known and loved because God has chosen them and God loves them. We've said this before, but none of us are loved because we changed. We change over time because we are loved. How powerful is that? We also want our children and young people to know that as well as being here with us for an hour on a Sunday morning and receiving, they've actually all got something to contribute. Many of our young people are involved in practical areas of service. Some are on the music team, some are on the tech team, some are on the hospitality team. And even right now, some of our youth are over there serving the younger children with our Sunday morning movie so that I can be over here, they're over there. It's how the family of God works, isn't it? Every single Sunday over the road, we pray for one another. They look after each other. It's so beautiful to see them helping one another. They ask each other if they're okay. They love to help. They're always saying, what can I do to help? How can I help? What can I do? And this is discipling a generation. We want to equip our children and young people to discover and recognize that they each have gifts that they can bring to serve one another and the church community. So if this morning you are on site or online and you are a parent or a carer, I want to challenge you to make the most of this 1 hour opportunity. We love your children and we want to speak hope and truth into each of their lives. There's an opportunity every week for someone to speak love and hope and truth into their lives. So every week that you can, bring your children and young people. Help us to invest in their lives. We know parenting is actually hard work. It really, really, really is. I've had a week of it, let me tell you. But we want to try and make it easier for everyone. As a church, we invest our finances because we believe in the next generation. We invest our finances into this area. So those of you who give on a regular basis, you are supporting the work to equip the next generation. We've purchased an app. It's amazing. It links to the resources that we use on a Sunday morning. So every week, if you signed up for the app, you get access to the stories, to the videos. You get access to a blog that's specific to your child's age range, tells you about things that might be going on for them in their development stages. It's just a really helpful tool. It's called Parent Q, and there's information about it at the back if you're interested in grabbing that, and information online for those of you joining us that way today. We also know that some days it's really hard work trying to keep up with just family life, let alone trying to keep God at the centre of it. And with so much competing for our children's attention, many of us have growing concerns about how to keep our children interested in God and being part of church. So we are looking this year at running some sessions for parents, one of which is on the next slide, I think, Foundations for Life. It's full of simple but significant ways in which you as parents can help nurture your child's faith connection with God, both in church and at home. However bumpy and difficult their faith journey may be, this course and others like it that we're going to be running throughout the year will help give you the tools to walk alongside your children as they figure out their place in God's family. We've got another session coming up, Deep Rooted. It's a chance to step back from the busyness and to step into the strength that God has already planted within you. We're going to look at how to build faith-filled resilience and grow long-lasting, life-giving roots for both us as parents and for our children. In addition to those courses, we regularly have the fuse groups every week. Fuse groups where parents can, not just parents, the whole church, but obviously the online aspect, as Sam said, really helps for parents not having to leave the home to be able to gather with other people and be strengthened in your own faith. We've got another event coming up specifically geared to looking at raising teens and really relevant topics there that as a church we need to be talking about. Session 1, sex and pornography. Session 2, drugs and alcohol. Session 3, aggression and violence. Because this is the type of stuff that is just accepted in the world. And we have to have a voice to help our young people navigate these types of things. In addition to all of that, we've got an evening coming up, which there's going to be more information emailed out this week. But Elaine is going to be running a session looking at the teenage brain. You thought this was bad, but now there's this. What on earth is going on in a teenager's brain? So there's going to be some information sent out how you can sign up for that. And Elaine has, done a lot of research, spent a lot of time putting that together. And we hope this is going to be a helpful resource for parents of teenagers. But even if your children are younger, then join up, sign up, come along and find out ahead of time. Just a quick side note, you can't avoid it though, there's no getting out. It's going to happen. In addition to all of this, for the older youth, we offer additional opportunities to gather. Sometimes we discuss relevant issues and sometimes we just hang out. And in fact, after the meeting today, we've got a lunch over the road for all of those in year 8 and above. I hope I've given you a brief summary of what we have going on for children and young people at New Life Church. But I want you to know this, we really believe in the importance of investing in the next generation. We invest our time, we invest our money, we invest our planning, and we invest our praying. Now, if you are interested in stepping up and serving in this critical area of ministry, there's information over at the back at the end of this service. You might want to come along for a taster session, join in one week and just check out what we do, see if it's for you. You might want to sign up for a 6-month term, 6 sessions, or longer if you wanted to. But all of us, whether you're able to practically get involved or not, we can all pray. We can all pray. And I'm just going to close with praying now for our children and young people. God, I thank you for each young life that you have trusted us with. God, I just thank you. I thank you for their families. I thank you for the young people. I thank you for the younger children. And God, I just pray that each one of them would know that they are valued, that they are loved, that they are known. And God, I ask that you would just help us as a church family to continue to equip them to stand firm on faith and friendship. God, we just ask that you would hold each child and young person safe with you. God, that they would grow into a loving relationship with you, knowing that there is a plan and a purpose for each one of their lives. God, would you help us as a church just be able to see and grab hold of the opportunities to make each child and young person know that they are a vital part of our church family. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' name, amen. Right, I'm going back. Bye.
Excellent. Well, good morning. You've seen at the top of the meeting that our mission statement, if you like, our vision statement, is to inspire people to find and follow Jesus. And we know, don't we, when we're using that word following Jesus, we don't mean following in the social media sense, where you just click on somebody and then you just sit in the comfort of your own home and watch what they're doing and occasionally throw in a like or a comment. When we're talking about following Jesus, we mean something altogether more life-changing, more intimate, closer. It means following him and doing the kind of things that he did. And when we know, don't we, when we read of the stories of Jesus' life, of those people who hung out with him, you'd think, wouldn't you, that he just spent his time praying and talking to people about God. But he didn't. We see that he met people where they were, literally, geographically where they were. He went out and met them. But he also met people where they were in their life circumstances. So we see he fed people. He healed people. He reached out to people who were living actually with the consequences of their own stupid choices, without judgment. He restored lonely people on the fringes of society to the embrace of their community. And so the community projects that we're involved in with at NLC aren't just an add-on or something that for us who are into that kind of thing. They're an essential part of following Jesus and an integral part of our life as a church. Jesus went on to tell us that when we feed somebody who's hungry, it's as if we're doing it to him. If we give somebody clothes who has none, it's as if we're clothing him. He told us when we visit somebody in prison, he receives that as if we're visiting him himself. When we care for somebody who's unwell, he receives that as if we are caring for him. When we give somebody something to eat, it's as if we're feeding him. When we give somebody something to drink, it's as if we are quenching his thirst. It's a really powerful idea. And those ideas, those inspiration from Jesus' own life and ministry compels us to go out from here, not just stay within these four walls on a Sunday or in our Zoom rooms, but to go out from here and be good news, God's good news, out into our community. We want the whole town of Letchworth to be a better place because we are here. And not just the people who come here and gather here on a Sunday morning, everybody. And we believe that's possible. We're not blowing our own trumpets here. We believe that when we go out and meet people's practical needs, we do so in the power of God. We go in the power of the Holy Spirit. When we get involved in helping our community, we get to show people the lavish, generous, kind, tender heart of our God. In a few minutes, you're going to see a series of videos which will explain to you a little bit about the projects that we're already involved in. And for each of us running those projects, I don't think any of us would say, oh, we're just about done, thank you very much, we can move on to something else. There is so much more that we can do. And we're praying for each of those projects. We pray that actually, as we give a meal, for example, that people would be grateful for the meal, and that would bless them. But they would begin to make those connections for themselves with the God behind it all, who loves them and has plan and purpose for their lives. And we're praying for ways to make bridges into local church communities when they can explore and discover him more deeply for themselves. So we're grateful, so grateful for all of you who are involved, and I know many of you are of all sorts of different levels in the projects that we are involved with already in the church. But I wonder, as you watch a little bit of information about each one, whether God might touch your heart this morning, not out of a sense of compulsion or I ought to or I should, but maybe God might touch your heart and you might want to get involved this morning in one of these projects. Maybe you might want to pray, so powerful, essential bedrock of everything we do. Maybe you might want to give generously, and maybe you might want to volunteer. Thank you for watching.
I want to say a huge thank you for all your help through my journey. I could not have done it without your kindness and support. I will never forget what happened, but with your help, I have learned to forgive myself, as I know I have been forgiven. I will keep it in the corner of my mind and look forward to the bright future ahead. I'm eternally grateful.
I am in Letchworth, a pretty town in North Hertfordshire. It is home to about 30,000 people. It's officially the world's first garden city, based on ideas by civil reformer Ebenezer Howard, and has inspired town planning all over the world. In England and Wales in 2019, almost 210,000 pregnancies were terminated for various different reasons. That's nearly 7 times the population of this town. 2.5 Stevenages. Or 21 times all the people of the neighbouring town of Baldock. About 210,000. During the COVID emergency, the UK government has allowed the abortion pill to be available through the post. Who knows what the numbers are now? In fact, 24% of all pregnancies end in abortion. But more than statistics, what hidden pain do these numbers conceal? And how do we reach out to a person, couple, or family facing an unexpected pregnancy decision or the consequences of a choice made in the past? My name is Jane. I'm part of the team here at Choice. Let me introduce you to who we are. Choice North Herts was established in 2001 in the local community. We are a group of people with the desire to help anyone struggling with issues surrounding unplanned pregnancies, termination of pregnancy, or miscarriage. All our advisors have been trained in these specific areas and offer compassionate, unbiased and non-judgmental information and support. We welcome any women, their partners and their families irrespective of age, race or religion. There is another way. We are part of a nationwide network of similar centres. We offer a safe and welcoming place to talk from our centre in Letchworth. Unbiased information. Help in processing painful feelings. Hope for healing. All sessions are confidential and free of charge. You can find us in Letchworth from where we serve North Hertfordshire and the surrounding area. Contact us by phone, email or online.
Thank you so much for your support and time throughout the last year. It has been the most difficult time of my life, and your help
so
and
much more
support
positive.
has been invaluable.
And with a new baby on the way, I can look forward to a bright future, whatever it holds. You do an amazing job, and I will never forget
in a truly
the
horrendous
experience.
situation. You say that you don't think you've done much,
Thank you
but
so much
whatever
for
has
helping me
happened
through a really
has worked.
difficult time in my life. Thank you for listening to me, to how I feel, and offering me advice
You
to
and
help me
Choice.
overcome my
What
experience.
a wonderful but also essential service
Without
you provide.
I don't know how I'd have got through it. I know I'll still have some tough days, but I'll remember everything you've said. You're not just my counsellor,
Enough
you've
words to
become a
express
trusted
my
friend.
gratitude. I will always be grateful for what you've done for me. I wouldn't be where I am now without you,
so much
and
for
there is
being
no
my
way
angel
I
in
could
my
have done it
hour of
without
need. I don't know where I'd be without you, and I'm eternally
So
grateful
long,
for
saw
everything
only
you've done
darkness
for me.
and sadness. You gave me light, gave me hope, and I never thought I'd be where I am now with strength. Thank you for your time, your patience, your understanding, and being there supporting me.
And this is something you can be part of too. Partner with us in prayer, financially, or join the team.
As a Christian ministry, please support us with prayer because we cannot function without it.
Would you be willing to support this important ministry?
Our heart in choice is to follow Jesus, expressing his grace and truth with every client.
For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well.
Make Lunch is trying to combat holiday hunger. So we put on Make Lunch, which means they get a free meal.
It took me a while to walk in. I don't like being around a lot of people. But after 5 minutes, it was fine.
We try and feed the parents as well, so they've got one less meal to feed themselves on.
Because the kids was constantly stuck in the house, and obviously, you know, I'm 5 kids, they're all fighting and everything like that. And then when they said that there's a club coming up that the kids can join, I thought, well, we'll go, see what they're like, and been coming since. I think it's just the people. They don't judge you, they talk to you, and if there's something, you know, if you're upset about something, they'll take you away and chat to you, and even do a prayer for you.
It's the fact that the church comes together, so there's so many volunteers like you've seen today, and it's just giving them the chance to come and do things and get involved.
They're not constantly fighting like they were.
Like painting and things.
Yeah?
Doing lots of stuff.
And Tessa, what do you like?
Jobs. Doing crafting stuff and having parties.
They love it here. and they even wanted me to start going to church on a Sunday, every Sunday. Only because the people that run the lunch club also go to the church. So they want to go and see John, and they want to go and see Tim and Nick. So I've got to think about that one. I was going to turn away when I first came. As soon as Tim started talking, and you have to go. It's just good, and once you're here, you won't be able to walk away.
That you're not murdering for like food and so homeware. Yeah.
After you've been here for so long, like me going 3 years, you kind of grow like into a family.
What is the best thing that you've ever eaten here? Tessa?
Apples, bacon, oranges. I like all the food. Hello, my name is Amy, and the Tommy is my brilliant coach.
Oh my goodness. Didn't say that.
I have like this anxiety thing. Anxiety is like if you were scared or something, or you had a fear and you never wanted to do it, you would always get like funny about it and you would be scared, and sometimes your tummy would feel a bit like wobbly. Every day that I came in, I never wanted to leave my mum or my dad either. I always used to cry and that.
I spoke to Amy's mum as well. She also explained how frustrating it was for her, especially seeing that Amy was already near 4 and she didn't really outgrow that. They said before she started on the program, it'd be like a miracle if she came to school the whole week.
Since the Tombies came in, I've been happy and running into school, skipping into school. Yeah, absolutely love it. It's amazing now. You see my friends, meeting my teacher. It's just fun.
Apparently the family could not even go on holidays because of Amy's anxieties and stuff. So this was their first ever successful holiday.
Even if you don't like stuff, it's always best to try and do it. And then once you've done it, even if you still don't like it, you've still tried, and you should be proud of yourself for doing that. And you've got to push yourself sometimes. If you feel like trustworthy with someone, you could just talk to them and let them know how you feel, and they could give you some advice as well.
It gives me such satisfaction that I'm able to make a difference in someone else's life.
It's nice that you want to help children and make a difference in their life and that. Right now, because what you've helped me with, I always feel like I want to be like Natombi to help other children. So I know what I've been through. You have been amazing.
Yeah.
You've helped me through a lot, so thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so proud of you, Amy. You've done so much, and you've put in all the work as well. It's not just me. It's me and you work together. Yeah. I'm so proud. Yeah.
My anxiety has got like 100% better, and Tommy's really helped me through it. I used to be 0%, and now I just shot up to 100 somehow.
Inspiring stuff, hey? It's cool. And like Elaine said, if you want any questions, want to find out any more information about all of the community projects, those are for the specific projects that we are locally involved with, trying to make a difference for our local community where we are at. So you can find out more information at the back. I know it's been said a number of times that our vision as a local church is to inspire people to find and follow Jesus. And when you're inspired, it's like at that idea of something creative, something that you can look forward to, something that you can lift your eyes up. And if you're here this morning and you're not yet a follower of Jesus, I'd want to hope that somehow your heart's inspired. That maybe this morning you feel like your heart's just swelled a bit, thinking like, wow, you know, I don't even believe in God, I don't believe in church, but something is going on here that makes me think, I want to be part of it. I want to discover more about it. And that's what we want to do. We want to inspire people. We don't need to beat people up or preach at people or make them feel rubbish about anything about their life. We actually need to inspire them to find a new way of living and loving. And that's what we want to do. That's our heart. And that's our dream, if you like. But a dream without action is just a daydream. So this is where our mission comes into place. And our mission is where we actually put into action what we dream about. And so if our vision is inspiring people to find and follow Jesus, our mission is together doing everything we can to reach everyone we can. And I hope you've caught this morning that when we say everyone we can, it's not just about those who don't yet know Jesus. We want to create a community where we reach everyone we can, even those who are part of this community. You've been a follower of Jesus for a long time. We want to strengthen you, support you. We want to put in, you've heard about the groups we've got coming up, especially for parents. We want to reach everyone we can. It's for the stranger, it's for the first-time visitor, and it's for the people that have been a follower of Jesus for their whole lives. We want to reach everyone we can, the unsaved and the saved, the lost and the found. We want to reach everyone we can. This is for the children and the youth. It's for the parents and the grandparents, right? It's everyone that we can. And how do we do this? We got a really simple sort of strategy, I feel like, and it's been said a few times this morning. You've seen it on a few of the videos. We have a really simple strategy that you can remember today, and it's gather, grow, give, and go. Really easy sort of strategy. Now, this is a filter that helps us implement all of our vision and our mission. And for us, this is what it means. When we say gather, it means everyone. We are all invited. Our starting point is an open invitation. We extend an invitation to all because Jesus invited all of us. So we are all invited. We want to create a welcoming space. And even if you don't know what to believe, you're welcome to belong here because we want to journey with you as you learn and discover more about what it means. So you're welcome to belong. And then we grow. We gather, we grow. We grow because we're all being changed. Because not a single one of us have reached it yet. So we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all in the same boat together. We're all growing, we're all being changed. And we give because we believe we all have something to share. You have a unique voice, a God-given voice. You have unique skills, gifts, talents, personalities, introvert or extrovert, doesn't matter. We are all uniquely created, wonderfully wired people. And we all have something to share, whether it's your time, your resource, your finance, whether it's seen or unseen. We all have something to give. We all have something to share. And then we go because we all are on a mission. We all are on a mission, reaching those who are churched and unchurched by unashamedly proclaiming the love of Jesus. That's our strategy in a very simple way. Gather, grow, give, and go. Gather, grow, give, and go. And so just to wrap up this morning, I know we've given you lots of information. We just kind of wrap up with thinking about like, well, how could you partner with us? And I'm asking you, will you partner with us? What will your next steps be? And a lot of people want to make a difference in life, but we don't always have the wherewithal or to know how to do it. Most of us want to be generous with our lives, but we don't know how to do it necessarily. And hopefully today we've sort of helped create some really clear steps. And so for the next part of the morning, we're about to finish and wrap up, but at the back of the hall, there's a few different tables, and it just kind of sequentially looks at some of the different things that we can do. And the first table is called Join In. And that's your first step of discovery. That's where if you're not yet on the mailing list and you'd like to be, that's a very simple thing to do. You could sign up and there you'll get the emails that come out every week. That's one practical thing you could do. You could just join in there. It also has some details about some of the events that are going on, that sort of thing. It also has important legal stuff like your data protection and how we use it. Just some really simple first things. That's a very join in, your first step of discovery, And then also there's a table that's got join a group. So that shares more about our fused groups. We call them fused instead of home groups because, well, you might not always meet in a home, for example, but we call it fused because when you fuse something together, it's joined together for greater strength and security and safety. So when something is fused, it's joined together for strength and safety. So that's why we call our groups fused groups. So you could find out about the different small groups and fused groups that are going on. You could find out at the back today, and you could actually go ahead and join one if you want. We have the modern technology of tap on a laptop and you're in a group. So there you go. How about that? We also got a table over there called Join a Team. So people are going to be there answering some questions. If you want to find out how to get involved with some of the teams, Sam leads our tech team. He was sharing some stuff earlier. Richard oversees the hospitality team, which set up this amazing room last night for all of us. Elaine oversees the youth work. Beth oversees the children's work. There's a couple of different people that are going to be available to answer questions, and anyway, join a team. Another table called Join a Cause. I hope you, like me, I don't know if you're moved just watching those little videos and hearing about what we want to do in our local community. If you want to find out about any one of those projects, they're on the back. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who give financially. Those 4 projects are projects that New Life Church financially supports. Every single month we sow into those projects. So if you're giving into a general offering, your money helps us do those types of things. Every single one of those projects we've been involved with since the beginning. We were the point church for those projects in our town. So you should be encouraged. We don't brag about it often because we don't really want to brag about it. There's no need to brag about it. But I just want you to know and be encouraged, and also to say thank you for those of you who are contributing and involved. We have a number of coaches who go into the schools, and there's going to be some people at the back who could even share a bit more about what we do there as well. And then we have another table called Give Generously, and you can find out, maybe this morning you're thinking, hey, you know what, I'd love to partner with this. I've got £5 a month. I'd love to just join in and get started doing something. A lot of us want to be generous in our lives, but not always have the plans put in place to do it. We plan to be generous, but we don't always become generous. That's just human nature. So if that's you, if you feel like, hey, you know what, I want to participate, God doesn't love you more if you don't, or if you do, okay? But if you feel like, hey, you know what, I would love to partner with this, it's super helpful because if you give regularly, it helps the trustees and the team budget for things going forward. So that's a really practical way. If you can do that, I'd love to ask you to consider that. And if that's been laid on your heart, awesome. But like Elaine said, please don't do anything out of guilt or compulsion. Do it because you believe in what you're doing and you're like, yeah, I want to be part of it. So if that's you, please feel free to do that. And Richard will be at the back. He's got some details there. And if you haven't yet signed your gift aid forms, please do that. The beauty of that means we can get 25% back on every donation from the government off of the tax. So hey, would you like a 25% pay raise? Right? It's a no-brainer, okay? So if you haven't yet completed your gift aid form, or if you're not sure if we've got your details, please complete it today or speak to Richard and he'll let you know if we have that on file. And there's been lots of information today, and I just appreciate everything that everyone has done. But just as we sort of bring this whole morning to an end, I just want to read this out to you. We are more than a random group of people who gather because of shared interests. We are more than colleagues. We are more than friends. We are the younger and the older. We are the broken and the put together. We are the addict and the clean. We are the depressed and the happy. We are the body of Christ. We are more than just a random association. We are family. And we're not just a family. We are family gathered for a reason. We are those who, because of the love that we have received, can only respond by loving others. Because when we're by ourselves and we know what goes on in our own hearts and our own lives, we know that the love we received is so undeserved. And all we can do with this type of love is humbly receive it and then share it to others. So therefore, we're more than just family. We're family on a mission. Our job is to inspire people to find and follow Jesus. We love people. Why? Because we have first been loved ourselves. So, here's to the adventure. I'm excited about the future. I have no idea what the future holds. Manchester United might win this afternoon. I doubt it, but anyway, sorry, I had to get football in there. Anyway, I don't know what the future holds, but I am excited about the future. I just want to say, here's to the adventure. Thank you so much for being part of it. Thank you so much for joining on it. And if you have any questions, there's going to be a number of us at the back to help answer your questions. Just no questions are off limits. If we can help in any way, we are here to help. So have an amazing, amazing rest of the day. And yeah, have an awesome time. God bless you. And thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.